So for me, as at that time, I was already working at Dangote as a logistics officer, and I'd already proposed in my house that I was not going to spend more than 2 years. It was Naira Land, basically. There was Naira Land and there was Intel region. I was following all those channels, and I had some channels I was following on WhatsApp as well. Once you're not looking for something, you're not going to find it. So it's very, very important that you're part of a community, and you now get other information. Obviously, quantitative reasoning, right? Then there's abstract reasoning. Yeah, then there's verbal reasoning. I think at some point we have to write an essay. The recruiters are not in a hurry, so they're doing a lot of filtering. But for Deloitte, immediately when you want to start applying, there's going to be different links for the different units. So you cannot expect to want consulting and you go through tax and legal. So
good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching and everyone that is going to watch. And this is another episode in the graduate trainee series where I tend to interview folks who have gone through the graduate training process or who have gotten into firms through the graduate training process. And again, just to reiterate, the graduate trainee pathway is just that path where you can get into firms without work experience. All you just need to do is finish school, get out with good grades, of course, finish serving, and then you can start applying. And today we'll be talking about one of the big fours. We've done an interview for KPMG. You can check it within the channel. We've done for EY. And today we'll be talking about Deloitte, also known as Greenhouse. And I will be speaking to Believe. One of the important reasons why I chose to speak to Believe is because Believe made it into KPMG, then left us and went to Deloitte. Mm-hmm. We are four. They are big fours. You had two.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. Mm-hmm. Can we even meet you?
My name is Believe. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So my name is Believe Abiodun, and like you said, I worked with KPMG for a while. I had a stint. Then I worked with Deloitte for a while as well, a longer stint, right? But I think I did about 9 months with Deloitte, and now I work with Shell.
So, I think it's a wealth of information about the application process and even things that we can do very well. So, we'll be talking existentially, majorly about the application process. So, let's start from the foundation of this whole thing, right? I don't know if you also for Deloitte the same way you also for KPMG, but the first question would be, how did you even come in contact with the vacancy? How did you even know that there was an opening at all?
Just to put this out there, yeah, Deloitte is my first love. So it's my first love because I think I knew somebody that was working with Deloitte, and it was a king's man, right? And he had gone ahead to have like his tax practice. So he had a firm, and I just knew that he came from Deloitte, yeah. And I was like, I want to work in that company. Mm-hmm. So for me, as at that time, I was already working at Dangote as a logistics officer, and I'd already proposed in my heart that I was not going to spend more than 2 years. I had some very personal reasons, but the foremost of my reasons for deciding not to spend more than 2 years in Dangote was because I was working on the field. And on the field, the people I was interfacing with, they were really looking like my future, right? Yeah. So I was interfacing as a logistics officer. You deal with fleet officers, with drivers, and all those people. And in my head, I'm like, that's fine, yeah, but it's just going to be for a short while. And I was going to leave, and I would go to a more refined and a more structured organization. And that was how I decided that I wanted any of the big four as at the time, but Deloitte was number one on the top of my list, yeah.
Okay, so that's like a preview before Big Four.
Yes.
Right, so you already said you wanted to go to Big Four from Dangote. How did you now get to know about the vacancy in any of the Big Fours or the ones you applied to?
So at the time, I think basically there was Naira Land and there was Intel region. Job exactly. Yeah, so I was following all those channels, and I had some channels I was following on WhatsApp as well, because like I told you before that once you're not looking for something, you're not going to find it. Yeah. So when I was not looking to get into the Big Four, I actually did not even know all the Big Fours. I only just knew some of them. But the day I proposed that I want to work in any of the Big Fours, I started researching and I checked. So what are the Big Fours? Then I found out that EY, KPMG, PwC, and Deloitte. Yeah. So I saw the adverts on. I think it was basically Intel region, right? So I just applied. So that was where I came in contact with it. But I checked Naira Land up for a lot more information. People that had worked there. Naira Land at the time used to be like a repository for where a lot of info. Even till now, if you still check, you'll still find a lot of information there.
This makes me remember the video I did with the KPMG with Ola
Oh, okay.
when we did KPMG, and he was also making mention of Naira Land a lot. And I think I come through all of the trades on Naira Land.
Exactly.
Yeah, I come through everything. And so, WhatsApp, I'm going to link the description. I think my WhatsApp group in the description. You can join. I mean, you can. They really make the place lively, and whenever I can answer questions, I try to answer questions there. So you should definitely. Again, this has become a common reoccurring theme to say that you need to join a community. You should not be doing this
Yes.
all by yourself.
It's very, very important. It's very, very important.
It's exhaustive to do it yourself.
Yes.
Right? The anxiety, you don't know what's coming tomorrow, and all of these things, right? So that's that. Now, when you applied,
Yes.
right, what was the period between the first application and when you even got the first email for any stage or assessment or whatever? What was that period?
Oh, okay. So before I answer that, I want to touch base on the community.
Okay.
It's very, very important that you are part of a community because it's going to help you to follow through with the situation of things. Yeah. So you will know what level you are, and you will know if others they have gone ahead of you or you've gone ahead of them,
Yeah.
right? So you're not just like having hope unnecessarily. So it's very, very important that you're part of a community, and you now get other information, and other people get information from you. So that's very so joining this WhatsApp group is very key. Yeah. So for me, the duration between when I originally applied for Deloitte and when I finally got in was about a year. So I applied in around December and I got in November 1st. The next year, so 2022 December, December 2022, I applied. Then November 1st was my resumption day. So it's like many, many months. And you don't even want to imagine the pressure that comes with all those months.
You would explain the pressure.
Yes.
You would explain. So that was 11 months, and I to think that it was like that at the time. It's not statutory practice. It's not consistent practice.
Yeah, so at the time, I think there was a pause for recruitment. That was what they said because a lot of us kept, sending a lot of emails. And that's one thing that you should look at doing as well. These big four guys, they respond to mails because I saw it in one of the videos as well.
They do, yes.
I personally sent some mails, yeah, and other people sent mails. Although, yeah, it's not everybody that got a response, but people that's what you have to join a community. Sometimes the problem you are going through, somebody else is going through it, and they have sent a mail, and they will now show you the response that they got. So at that time, they were always telling us to just be patient, that they will reach out to us. At some point, we were hearing from them between like 2-3 months, and they just sent a reminder that we are still going through the recruitment process. That was around July, and that they were still going to reach out. So when I saw a mail from Deloitte, my heart was pounding because I was thinking that it was either breakfast or it was going to be offer letter. But it was none of the above. It was just basically them telling me that they will still reach out and stuff. Yeah.
So now 11 months through the whole process. So let's unpack the whole 11 months.
Yeah.
Now, you would first apply.
Okay.
And then you are going to get maybe a link to do the first exam,
Yes.
all of those things. What was the period between when you first applied and when they got back to you to say that you can now write the exam?
Okay, so what I did was take screenshots.
Yes, please check.
I took about 10 screenshots of the processes from the initial time I applied until my day of resumption. And so it was 10 different mails that I got. Do you understand? So you can see how crazy it is. So the first screenshot was, I think it was 26th of January. That was when I was invited for the initial assessment. It was with Dragnet.
Okay.
So Dragnet used TileView. So it's like you need to use a system, a PC, and you need to install the TileView and you do the test. So at the time, I think what stood me out that I think can help other people too was I studied a lot of Dragnet questions. And it is quite important that if you want to do an interview, try to understand the body in charge of that interview. Because it could be SHL, it could be Dragnet, it could be any. Exactly. Yeah. So, but obviously, GMAT is goated. If you know GMAT, it helps your thinking process to be faster, right? And you can basically any other question that comes up. So, but for me, I think on GMAT, I was really doing a lot of GMAT. So when I did the aptitude test, I think I did the aptitude test. It said 26th of January. Yeah. After I did the aptitude test, I was successful. Yeah. So they sent me. Okay.
So yeah, I want to say, what's the structure of Dragnet? Is it reasoning, or what is there any specific difference between Dragnet and other exams, or is still the general verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, math, English, current affairs, and all of that?
In sincerity, because I did a lot of aptitude tests at that period.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I cannot really remember the structure, but I
Okay.
know that the structure may not have changed
Yeah.
even up till now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I take a very good guess, is obviously quantitative reasoning, right? Then there's abstract reasoning.
Abstract.
Yeah, then there's verbal reasoning. I think at some point we had to write an essay.
Okay.
Yes, we had to write an essay, like, yeah, in real time. So I think they just displayed the question and you had to start writing. So you'll be thinking on your feet and you'll be writing, yeah. So the next stage that I got was, they sent me mail for credentials verification. So after they had already sent me congratulations that I passed
Okay.
the aptitude test.
Now,
Yeah.
between when you wrote on the 26th of January,
Yes.
what was the date that they sent you the congratulations you passed the assessment?
Okay, this is 22nd of February.
You wrote 22nd of February.
No, I wrote 26th of January.
Okay, then
Yeah.
22nd of February.
Exactly.
That's almost a month.
Yes.
Again,
Almost a month, yes.
again, it's a lot of patience, right?
Honestly.
It's a lot of patience. So some guys have written for KPMG and they're asking me if they've shortlisted. I'm like, bro,
You have
would
to, yeah.
really need to like take chill pills, focus on other applications.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in this application, the only time you should turn towards it again is when their emails come in and say that this is the thing you want to do.
Exactly.
Right?
And to add to that, yeah,
Yes, please.
the recruiters are not in a hurry.
They are not.
They're not in a hurry to just take anybody. So they're doing a lot of filtering. The smallest of things can filter you out, and the smallest of detail can filter you in. So it is they that know why they take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And they also have reasons why they have the structures for their interviews. I think they have partners, they have the unit
They have a lot
interviews,
of
and all those
interviews,
stages.
yeah.
Yeah. But it was 22nd of February for the credential verification.
Okay. So the credential verification, that you can call it documentation, you
Yeah,
can call
yeah.
it sending in of your credentials and all of that. Do you want to mention some credentials they asked?
Oh yeah, so I have the list here.
just
So there's
the list.
birth certificates, WAEC or NECO, higher institutional certificates, NYSC, professional qualifications, most recent and detailed copy of your CV, then valid means of identification. So 7, yeah.
Please, if you are applying to Deloitte, you need to get these 7 documents available. And I think, to be honest, I think generally across the big fours, these are the documents that they ask for.
Yeah.
Generally.
And there's
across the
something
Big Fours.
too. So when I was applying, so for Deloitte, yeah, you have the fact that once you want to apply for Deloitte, there are 3 major application stratification, right? So there's the one for audit, yeah, there's the one for consulting,
Yeah,
then there's for
definitely.
tax and legal. So I think unlike other big fours, you can just apply generally. And as time goes on, you would find your path. But for this, I think even for KPMG when I applied, I did not want to do tax. So I think they looked at my background. My background is in statistics and economics. So they felt that I had some taxation experience and they put me in tax. But I did not want tax.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but for Deloitte, immediately when you want to start applying, there's going to be different links for the different units. Yeah, so if you want consulting, you need to use the consulting link. So you cannot expect to want consulting and you go through tax and legal. So I just wanted to put that out there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So the documentation,
Yeah.
the first. So we've covered the exam, which is
Dragnet, yes.
right. Then we've covered the credentials. We've gone through the list of the documents that they might be asking for. Then the third thing is, after the documentation, what was the next email? And what was the date they sent you the credentials?
Okay, the credentials, I said 22nd of February.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the next email was on the 9th of March. I got another email. Yes, I got another email on the 9th of March.
And what was that?
And this one was for in one interview. Initial interview, that's assessment, assess fits, interest in role, salary expectations. So there are basically 2 interviews after the assessment test, right? So the first one is the initial interview. That one is not the partner's interview. I think they call it MI2, manager's interview. But in that interview, the HR, they'll be there too, and other persons will be there as well.
Do you know the portfolio of the other folks that will be there?
I believe that if I stand to be corrected, but I think it is the manager in one of the managers in that unit.
Okay,
So
that's
because I was doing consulting, so
Yeah.
there was a manager from consulting or two. Then there were people, I think PPC.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people from
PPC is
PPC,
pure.
and change,
Yeah.
yeah, or HR, yeah. So they were part of it as well. Then I got that one on the 9th of March. Yes.
So let's break the experience down. What were the kind of questions, or what were they seeking to understand, or what was the conversation around?
So for me, like I said, I had a background in at Dangote, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit overly experienced for that
Yeah.
role. But because I wanted to change the trajectory of my career, I had to come to the Big Four. I did not mind starting all over again.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I have to speak to people that would, I think I will speak to two categories of persons. People that are starting, like as fresh graduates. So as fresh graduates, they want to see the leadership positions that you have taken. Right, so it's access fits for a reason. Nobody's expecting you to have all the experiences in the world. Nobody's expecting you to be like Isaac Newton and be a genius or something. But they just want to see when have you taken initiatives. So most times it is just a conversation. So they try to make it look like a conversation, but don't be too comfortable. Yeah. So I think there was something that was very popular then. They call it STAR.
Yeah.
You ask situation, task. I think A is action, then
Action.
results. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
what was the situation like? What was the
What was the
task that
task?
you
What
did?
action did you
What action?
take?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Then what was the result?
Yeah.
So that was my own strategy. So anytime that they asked any questions for the assessment fee, or if they say tell us about a time, this is basically where they asked. They tell us about a time question.
So
A
that's
lot.
competency-based interview.
Yes, I think that's the equivalent
Yeah.
for the CB,
Yeah, CBI.
CBI that is in. So the assess fits. They want to check. Okay, if you say you have a first class, right? You say you have a 2-1. There is a basic level of intelligence that these guys are looking out for, right? So once they're asking you questions and you're not articulating well, nobody's going to fault you for bad articulation. But you cannot consistently not be articulating well. At some
Yeah.
point, you have to. Okay, so one thing I did here in one of the interviews I was doing, I felt very overwhelmed. Then I spoke up and I told them that okay, can I just get a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Then they said, oh, feel free, please.
Yes.
So they are as very chilled as chill can be.
possible, yeah.
Yeah. So I took out some time. I had to take a bottle of water. Then I came back. Right. So they asked questions about the job I was doing before. Yeah. So it was basically most times it's just like chains of questions from one chain to another
it
chain.
leads to the
So it is
other.
exactly what you say that they will now
to
ask
the
you.
next.
It leads to the next. So there's no really written question that they had for me except okay, tell us about yourself and what do you know about Deloitte. Yeah. So why do you want to work with us and all those questions. And I think that anybody that is serious should have those questions figured out. You have to try, no matter how. Yeah, I understand that people have different strengths, right? You may be good at writing tests, and you may not be good at physical interviews or speaking or something. And I also want to say that there's a set of people that actually did physical interview. Yeah, even that year too.
Is it
I
at
think
stage one?
yes, at this stage one, I believe yes, because on the group chat that that was what they said. So it may be wrong, but mine was virtual. Yeah, so that was the next stage. Access fits and conversation around salary and other things.
Cool. So I just want to say, while you're checking the next step, I want to say that whenever you get to competency-based interview, there is this STAR method, right, which is very good. It's very popular. A lot of people use it.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't even remember the STAR method. I do not even remember,
Yeah.
to be honest. I say this to say people like me that do not remember it. One of the things that you want to do, or the foundational understanding you want to have when it comes to interview, and I'm going to write this as a thread on Twitter this week. If you can follow me on Twitter, I'm probably going to put the link to there. Is that when it is competency based and say, tell me a time in your life when you did this. Essentially, what they're looking for is how you can think.
Exactly.
Not
On
that
your
it
feet.
has happened
On
in
your
your
feet.
life deliberately.
Yes.
But you want to be able to think about something that has happened and
Yes.
how you can think, how you can fix it. That's what they really want.
Exactly.
So if you use the STAR strategy, it's easier. So you just look for the situation that has happened. What is the task that should be done? What was the action that you did? And all of it. It can make, but you just think about things. Okay, the president went out. I was the vice president. I aligned this. I called this. I did this.
Exactly.
And then after the whole day, everybody was present in this. You're done.
Yeah, and to add to that, yeah, you also want to try to make sure that your answers are in alignment with the core values.
With the core
So you
values.
can, I think one of the core value Deloitte is integrity, right? You want to show any time where, if they're asking you, okay, tell us about a time, you want to talk about a time where you were courageous, right? Or you want to talk about a time where you were in the position to compromise, but you decided not to compromise, and you were still able to handle that situation. So it is important that you tie back all the conversation to some of their core values. They would like they may naturally just think that, oh, you're just speaking, but it would resonate with them a lot more that, oh, you're speaking our language. These people just want to hear you speak their language.
That's the thing.
You don't want to hear you speak their language.
And that's what fit is all about.
Exactly, yes.
Fit into our culture. So
the next one was on 17th of April.
9th of March.
Yes, 17th of April for partner interview. So it was partner interview. And one thing I also realized is all of us were not getting mails at the same time. So we could like 1 day difference. Then some 2 days. But most times, if you've not gotten in 1 week, I'm sorry. That's just breakfast. There's no love letter there. It's just breakfast. So, and sometimes nobody will get back to you to tell you, oh, we are sorry, we're not moving on with you. So it's just really good to have many options. So it was on the 17th of April.
So let's break down this partner's interview. What does the partner interview entail?
Okay, so in the Big Four, the top management is partners, right? And the partner interview is like the highest person in that unit, or one of the highest persons in that unit. And for me, my partner interview was very, very funny because he had a lot of people lined up. And he's not a person for long talks. So I think you need to read the room and understand the person that is interviewing you. It's very important that, because he wanted me to go straight to the point. It was clear. If I ask you a question, tell me the answer. You don't have to beat around the bush. So if you eventually meet somebody like that, you don't have to say many things. These people already, they can pick out 1 or 2 things instantly when you start speaking, right? And they will know if you are fit for, because they are not there to come and start asking you some basic questions. It's just high level question. Okay, is this person teachable? If he joins the team, is this person going to give value and all those things? So it's very important that. So for me, I had to give quick and fast answers to my partner that was interviewing me then. Yes, but I don't want to mention his name, but
don't mention his name. But can you remember some of the questions?
So I think one of the questions he asked was, what change am I going to be? What am I bringing into the team? What exactly am I going to bring into the team?
What did you say?
I can't remember. I think I just mumbled words together, and I'm like, oh, so I'll do this. So I think, okay, what I did was to first of all remember what I had done before. Then I said, oh, so where I was before, do you get? And I was always speaking about SAP. So SAP, because I wanted to join the consulting team for enterprise resource and planning, right? And I had experience in SAP already. So any question that I was asking me, I was speaking SAP, right? So if it was you could be speaking data or analytics or cloud. But me, I was just speaking ERP, SAP, planning, and all those things. So anytime you ask a question, I can tell him that, oh, this and this, yes. So it's good to have a focus, and know exactly the language that you're speaking. It helps,
So again, I think another thing we've always mentioned, and I've mentioned again when you get to partners interview, is that they've been in the business for a long time, 15, 20, 30 years, right? And you, irrespective of who is in the room, you still want to maintain your confidence. You don't want to be G3, because one of the things you have to purchase here is, you mentioned courage and then your confidence. It is very important, please. And the way I usually help folks to do that is, see, you deserve to be in front of the partner at that time.
Exactly.
You've written the assessment, you've done your job.
Exactly.
You deserve to be there, irrespective of what imposter syndrome is actually telling you. And when you know that you deserve to be somewhere, then you can carry yourself as someone who knows that they are meant to be here, and then they're going to give their best to whatever is in front of them. After the partners interview, was there any other thing?
Yes. This is very funny because I started in December. So December, January, February, March. In April, I got the mail for medicals. So you would naturally expect that, oh, once medical comes, that I'm in already. So I also want to put this out there that during our time, doing medicals was not a guarantee that you had gotten in. Because I actually know somebody that we were like following through with the recruitment process up until medical. She got the medical interview. We went to the hospital that was assigned to us. We did all the checks. They did all the x-rays and eye tests and all those things. And eventually, they did not get back to her. So
Chimbo.
Between this is 26th of April,
Yeah.
and the next time that they go back to us, they did not get back to her. So she kept hoping. Even after I got into
Like,
Deloitte,
the
she has
thing
been
was
sent a lot of mails because at the top of her head, this is medicals. What else? It's something wrong, but we could not now say exactly why.
what went
Yeah,
wrong.
so I think you have to be fit. You have to also pray. I really can't tell
What
the
happened
in
yeah.
between that space. Yeah, but the next step is medicals after partners
So,
interview.
between the first step and the medicals,
Yes.
you guys, Deloitte doesn't do all this group presentation, CBI, all those kind of assessment center. You know,
I know assessment center. It took like many
a
hours,
whole day.
a whole day. Yeah,
Deloitte
you
doesn't
sit
do
there.
things like that.
No, but they do competency based interview.
That's the
Yeah,
first one
yes,
that
the
you
assessment
mentioned.
fit and stuff.
So
So
that's
it's just basically two
two
interviews,
major interviews
managers
and
and
you're
partners
done.
interview. Yes, and you're
Oh,
done. It's not. Yeah.
That's cool. So I mean,
But yes,
right.
sorry. Even though it was just two interviews, yeah, every other person I eventually met, I was certain that the HR knew what they were doing because everybody they had something so distinctive about them. It was not just the raw intelligence. That's obvious. Any of the big four, anybody you meet,
will
just
see
know
some,
you
yeah,
just
they have IQ.
you
Yeah.
if you're not careful, self you may lose yourself because you're like, this person is so. Do you get? But there, I could see that the level of intelligence that they had, it was not just academic, right? It looked like skills that could transcend different changes and different eras. So when they speak, when we are in different, there's something they call mission ignition. I think for KPMG is K-back.
Yeah.
So for Deloitte is MI, mission ignition. So they're like igniting you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Initiating you with the spirit
exactly.
of the firm.
So yeah.
I mean, that's cool, and I think working across, working with different people in KPMG too, you see that. I mean,
Yeah,
you worked in KPMG,
definitely.
you see that touch of intelligence when when they're
Yes.
talking, when they're, and again, I know we are saying touch of intelligence. It's not that you're going to enter, and then you're going to lose yourself in the process. We're just saying that if you get in, or when you get in, it's a testament to the fact that you're intelligent.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yes.
So, yeah, and
You can sit down and just take it in that.
yeah,
This is
if I try,
like,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's a lot.
And you can even get more than one. If I honestly believe that if I wanted to get the four,
Before you get,
I could get the four.
I think I've
Do you
applied
get?
to the KPMG and
You can get the four. Really, there's nothing too big there.
Yeah.
That's just the honest truth. Yeah.
So, after the medicals,
So I said medicals was 26th of April. Then the
Yeah.
next time I heard from them was 27th of July. And this mail was to just tell you that, please, we are still here. Don't worry. So imagine April, May, June, nothing. Yeah, so this was now the time that I applied to KPMG.
yeah.
So that was it. That was the period I now applied to KPMG. I'm like, I can't keep waiting for these guys.
Yeah.
And, I was still working, but I wanted to resign, right? So that was like the period. Eventually, I even left. I did not have any offer yet, but I left, right? I had no offer on the table. So I've done that a lot. So for me, I can be very audacious. When something is in my heart, this is what I want, this is what my future looks like,
Yeah.
I just go for it. Yeah. So between that, I said 26th of April, yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next time they reached out was 27th of July.
Then after 27th.
After 27th of July, this one is just to calm your nerves that we are still coming to you. Yeah, after 27th of July, the next slide is 29th of September.
29th.
Yes, 29th of September was when the offer of employment came. Right, it was like one of the best days for me.
During
Did you get? we were ready. Yes, we were there. I was there like guy, I'm going. There's nothing like I was going to leave here, so I was so certain that like I just had to go. So I even had to talk to my partner at KPMG, explain things to her that this and this. So yeah, it was 29th of September.
Then you resumed November 1.
Yes, November 1.
So that's just the whole process for Deloitte. And the timeline doesn't represent the general or the consistent timeline.
Exactly.
One or two things actually happened during that period. But again, it's just to say that, see, when you're applying to any big four, you need a lot of patience. Now, as we round this up, right, people are, the folks will be watching this, the people who really want to apply to Deloitte, want to get to KPMG, want to do this, want to do that. Can you just give us, can you explain, with benefit of hindsight, working in KPMG and then working in Deloitte, what you say to someone who really wants to work in this place? And we close this chapter.
Okay, so for me, no regrets that I decided to leave an experienced role to start all over again, this KPMG and Deloitte and other Big Four, they are worth it, depending on your outlook, what you want to achieve, because for me, okay, I left a job I was already 2, 3 years into, and I came to start all over. What stood out for me, is the people. So the people I met at KPMG,
Yeah.
the processes, the people and the processes, the way they do their things, and most importantly is the confidence. These guys want you to speak in a certain type of way.
Yeah.
They want you to think in a certain type of way. They want you to dress. You don't joke with dressing. So at Deloitte here, if I was telling friend of me that there's a lapel that you are giving, is a green dot. I had it, but it's not here now. So that green dot, it will be shared to you, yeah, and it's going to be like an emblem showing you that you do work that matters. So that's in Deloitte, that's a thing. Everybody, oh, we are doing work that matters. Sometimes it becomes like a joke, it's just like an inside joke that you are doing work that matters, so they are paying you for it, so do it well and stuff. So for me, it's the quality of the output that you give, the quality of the output, and the fact that you can be called upon anytime to go meet a client, and and again, one thing with the KPMG and Deloitte is that the reason they are very particular about employing very smart people is because of the pace of the projects that come in. They want you to be able to learn everything now,
Yeah.
know it and say it as if you have been doing it all your life.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, yeah. So it's just the people, the process, and how fast you are able to learn and iterate and do all those things, yeah.
I mean, thank you very much, Billy.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, with this, right, Deloitte is out.
Yeah.
If you can apply, please apply.
Yeah.
You are never going to regret that you joined one of the Big Four.
I have one last comment.
Like I was saying on Twitter, I was saying that there are reasons why you work in certain firms, and the exposure those kinds of firms is going to give you. And finally, just lock in.
Yeah.
And it can be the thing that changes your life. And your last comment.
Yeah, I have one last comment here, and this is from a personal experience. Really, for me, yeah, the message I just want to pass to young graduates and people that are looking to enter into the Big Four, even if you have experience somewhere else before, yeah, is that it is very possible to get in, right? For somebody like me, I study statistics and economics, and on my LinkedIn bio, I have ex Dangote, ex KPMG, ex Deloitte, ex Reckitt, and now Shell. I already decided in my mind that I don't want to work for any local company, right? So it is whatever decision you make, you find out that one way or the other, once you believe in God, is very, very important, because I cannot even remove the part of God. So the spirituality for me is so important. So many times I had to hear from God. I've resigned about 3 times from different places, and it was mostly based on instructions, right? And finally, you have to be strategic about the relationship you make in the Big Four. So in the Big Four, the relationships I was able to make and sustain was what has taken me to where I am now. So I currently work with Shell, and it is because of somebody I met, right? So at the end of the day, yeah, your technicality must have a very beautiful mix with your character. Yes.
So, till that I don't think I can say anything more than that. And till we meet again on the next episode, keep pushing and please lock in.
Cheers.